Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Friday edition of Quad Radio. And today, our guest, GNCC top guy, Mr. Brian Wolf. And we say good Friday to you, and welcome, Brian. How's things going?
Oh, hi, Ronnie. It's not too bad. It's raining out down here in Florida.
Raining in Florida. Now, that's not supposed to be like that, man. I mean, that's why you guys go south, is so you can get away from weather like that, man.
Yeah, at least there ain't no snow or cold weather or ice. It's just a little bit of rain today.
Yeah, that's for sure. So how's the weather been otherwise other than today? You guys been getting a lot of riding and everything in?
We've been here for the last, I'd say, past 7-10 days, and it's been up around 80, 85 degrees, so can't complain with that. Been to the beach a couple times. Been riding a few times, doing a little bit of everything down here.
Sounds like you're in pretty much cruise control right now, Brian. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. I know that I talked to Tim Farr here, I don't know, probably last week, I believe it was, and he let us in on a little secret that you guys have been kind of working together recently.
Yeah, he's going to put as much effort towards my program as he can. He's going to help me out with bike setup and dial this thing in as much as possible to make it ready for a championship.
One thing you've been very good at is basically putting together your program and being prepared for the season. It seems like that, even with the support you've been getting over the last couple of years, man, you've really been putting those bikes through the ringer, and, you got some good things going. But now with Tim Farr, I imagine that you guys have got a plan to combat that, huh?
Yeah, I guess I'm not much of a mechanic. I guess it showed the last couple of years with my finishes. Have a couple good races and have a couple DNFs, and it's not the way you go and make a run for a championship. And so hopefully I won't be working on the bike as much as I have in the past, and hopefully it'll stay together.
Well, I mean, you got to be pretty satisfied, though, Brian, with the way the 2011 season went for you, because, I mean, if you look back on it, that was actually your first year in the XC1 Pro class, and already, you were a threat, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a pretty good year. I had fun anyways at it. It's pretty cool to be one of three guys in the pro class to win it overall. Me, Adam, and Chris. So hopefully we can keep it down to just a few guys next year and win more of them.
Yeah, there you go. But, the rumor has it right now, Brian, that the talent field just keeps deepening and deepening and deepening.
It does, and I don't think it's going to stop, and I think we don't have to. I think we got to worry more than just the 6-7 best guys. I think the guys 10 through 15, 15 through 20, I think we're going to have to start watching out for those guys. These A riders coming through the ranks and Pro-Am guys, they want to take a swing at it too. Yeah, no doubt. Well, Brian,
I'm sure a lot of people wonder about exactly who you are and where you come from, because I know it was like only a few short years ago, Wolf wasn't even on the radar. I'd never heard Brian's name, and then all of a sudden you appear on the scene, and man, you make a bright flash in the pan, and you have been a key player in whatever class you've been riding, whether it be the Pro-Am or the XC1 Pro class or whatever the case may be. You've been right there as a player since pretty much you became a GNCC racer, it seems like. Tell us a little bit about how you got into it and how long you've been racing and stuff.
Well, I've been around the sport for pretty much my whole life, trail riding and a little bit of motocross. I started doing motocross locally and did a few national motocrosses back in, around 2000s and stuff. And that's actually where I met my wife, Annie. Ran into her at one of the Red Bud, Michigan it was. Good thing I didn't forget that. Started MXing and never really took it serious. I started hanging out with Jeremy Rice, and I went to Georgia about 5 years ago and just rode one of the stock A classes, and I was hooked ever since. So the last 4 or 5 years we've been doing GNCCs.
Wow, so you hooked up with Jeremy Rice, and you became a big name, and then Jeremy just kind of disappeared, huh? I haven't seen a whole lot of him lately. What's going on with Jeremy?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's just, I think he spent so many years in the sport, and he just wanted to move on and move into different hobbies and start a life and a family himself.
Well, that's great. I tell you what, tell him we said, hey, if you see him, because I know I haven't seen him in quite some time. He was always a pretty good fixture there on the GNCC for a while.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
No doubt. So here you are You go to your first race in the off-road and you race your A-class. Tell me a little bit about how you felt about that, and when was your next GNCC outing? How long did it take you to get back into it?
Oh, I remember my first race. It was down at down in Georgia, and I remember getting lapped by Borch and Balance, and going into the race, I just thought I was gonna be able to catch those guys, and when they came around and lapped me on the last lap, I had a whole different feeling for the sport, and I knew if you wanted to run, you had to put a little more effort into it than I was, and I still don't think I know I haven't put any effort into it the last couple of years. I really enjoyed my partying and my other activities, but this year we're going to try to put all that aside and put a lot more effort into it.
I know last year at the end of the season, it really seemed like something got you fired up, man. I mean, what exactly was it? Is it something you're at liberty to talk about, or something happened that just kind of ticked you off personally that you decided, hey, it's time to show these guys what I'm made of?
No, I just, after St. Clairsville, had a good ride that day, and I knew I wasn't trying yet. I knew I wasn't putting no effort into it. Work a full-time job. My wife works a full-time job also, and with all that said, I just still wasn't putting no effort in training or practicing or bike maintenance. So try to spend as much time with the kids that I can. And after taking that hit at Ironman, watching the morning race, putting me out of the injury, putting me out of that race, and Loretta Lynn's, it just made me realize there's a lot to lose, and with all my extra activities and stuff, I definitely want to be here for my kids, so I don't want to have anything else involved in taking any chances or risks other than the sport. So basically you're focusing, and that's a good thing. Now, you brought up the fact that you got injured there at the Ironman. I know a lot of people probably don't know what happened exactly, but you were actually out helping some other riders during the morning race, from what I understand, weren't you? Yeah, there's a little bottleneck at the top of one of the Ironman hill climbs, and I jumped out to help one of the girl riders trying to go around it, and I was holding her down while Pickens and a couple of the other guys were running over to help her, and a 4x4 come out of nowhere from the top of the hill, and it just plowed into my left leg, which took us out and went tumbling down the hill. Wow, that was a pretty close call, it sounds like. It could have been a lot worse. Yeah, I'm fortunate that's all that happened, and had an MRI done to it, and my PCL's tore, and it's just going to take it takes surgery to fix it, but as long as I protect it and wear a brace and try not to injure it anymore, we're going to try to run the whole season without getting it repaired. Wow, that's going to be pretty interesting. We'll keep an eye out on that for sure. Now, Brian, you mentioned something kind of unique in compared to the rest of the top ATV GNCC guys, and that is that you actually have a full-time job outside of the racing. Tell us a little bit about that. From what I understand, you are a railroad man. You're not like a conductor or anything, are you? No. I wish, because those guys do pretty well for themselves. But I'm a supervisor for a railroad contractor out of Cleveland, and my territory's Pittsburgh, and have about 8 guys that work for me, and we do anything it takes to get a train by. Wow. So I take it there's not a lot of things going on here in the last couple of weeks. That's how you luxuries of being in Florida, huh? Yeah, with all the snow and ice back home, it's kind of hard to get anything done when the ground's frozen, so I'm able to sneak away here for a couple weeks and try to get some training in and some ride time in. Well, that's pretty unique for someone that has a full-time job. So, man, it's almost as if you have 2 different lives, like you're a full-time racer and you have a full-time job and a full-time family man. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm really fortunate to be able to have it all. It's a lot of work, but I wouldn't give it up for anything. I wouldn't give it up for a championship. Well, let's talk about championships. As we said, you're getting ready to head into your second year as an XC1 Pro Class racer, and we've already mentioned that you were pretty fired up at the end of last year, and you've already made note that you're probably training harder and putting more focus into this than you ever have. So what are your goals? What are your expectations out of this 2012 season coming up? My goal is just to go out there and come off the track every race uninjured and safe and come off with no enemies. I mean, I've been watching videos from 2003 and 2004, and all the guys in the pits and on Pro Row, you could just see them all jumping over and helping each other out and helping everybody get back out on the track with whatever it takes, a chain or brake parts or whatever. And I just don't think you see that anymore on Pro Row. It's gotten to a factory level, and no one helps anyone out anymore. But hopefully this year it's all going back to personal programs, and everyone's out there with their own teams and support. So hopefully that brings back a lot more excitement. This year with having Farr on my side and hooking up with Baldwin Motorsports, I know that I'll have a unstoppable machine. It'll just be me. So it's going to take a lot more out of me to be part of this program.
Sounds like you got a good program running, that's for sure. And sounds like you got some pretty good expectations for the 2012 season. And going back to what you said just a moment ago, you mentioned that people, are getting, I think probably the best way to put it, getting back to the basics. And this is kind of making people, not only more hungry, but also more humble, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'd say so for sure. I mean, you could take I don't know, I guess the best example would be that I can think of is Kaiser back in, after he's done with his KTM ride, he came back out with his own program, all out of his pocket and his outside sponsors, and he put on probably one of the best shows there was for a privateer doing it himself, and I think he's going to come back out and be one of the top guys this year winning races.
Sure looks like it could be that. I know that he is back to the basics, and a lot of people are, like you had mentioned, and it's good to see that the life is still there in GNCC. Even though the money's not there, this goes to show you just how much love somebody can have for something.
Yeah, exactly. And I got a lot of guys, I got a few outside sponsors that are helping me out just to do what they can do. Todd Harris from West Virginia, Redline Honda, just a bunch of guys that are doing a lot more than just products for me, and I'm greatly appreciated for it.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that, Brian. And I know a lot of people believe in you and your program and what you're capable of doing. And I know that this year is going to be a pretty exciting one to watch. I'm going to be keeping an eye on you, as I'm sure a lot of people are. But I just want to say thanks for taking the time out here for Quad Radio. And, man, good luck in the rest of this training season.
Thanks, Rodney, and see you here in a couple weeks. All
righty, buddy. Any shout-outs you want to give to any of those new folks helping you out before we let you go?
Yeah, definitely Tim Farr, Mark Baldwin, GT Thunder, Redline Honda, Todd Harris, Maxis, ATV 4Play still on board, Viper Tire Ball, Spider Graphics, Y-Scope, Cross Country Photos, Precision, Wrath, DNR, and my family for enjoying the sport just as much as me.
That's great. Again, Brian, thank you very much. That's Brian Wolf. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Quad Radio.